This conference will now be recorded.
Well, let me introduce Shannon real quick. She called me out of the blue. Best kind of calls to get. They want to know what in the world this PARB thing was. So we had a real nice visit, and she was telling me about her program, Girl Scouts Behind Bars, which I had never heard of. And she shared the information, and I was real excited. And I happened to be in the middle of putting together these trainings at the time. I'm like, well, why don't you tell everybody about this? So so Shannon, with that, wonderful introduction, why don't you go ahead and, introduce yourself some more and go ahead and kick off. And I'm going to share my screen to start sharing your PowerPoint here.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I do apologize. I am in the car. If you see my lovely background, I'm like one of you had mentioned. I'm more familiar with Zoom and changing the backgrounds of Zoom. So I'm actually sitting in the parking lot of Core Civic in between meetings. We had a parenting class this morning, and go back in for a later meeting this afternoon. But like Keith was sharing, my name is Shannon Luper. I am the program manager of the Girl Scouts Beyond Bars program. We are actually transport children who have an incarcerated parent to the Department of Oklahoma correction facilities. We go to the two remaining female facilities that are still open, Mabel Bassett and Eddie Warrior. We used to be at Cape Bernard, but of course, everyone knows that closed back in May of last year. And so all of those women have been shifted to different facilities. They now have, Core Civic is running the Oklahoma City Reentry Opportunity Center here in Oklahoma City. So we are a part of that organization, facility, and OKCCC is also in Oklahoma City. And so both of those are more halfway houses. So we have limited number of women at those facilities that we're able to serve, but we try to serve those facilities as well. So a little bit that I wanted to share with you about the facility of incarceration. Next slide, please. So children are basically the forgotten victim of the crime that their parents actually cause these stigmas, this loss of financial support, the poor school, they have poor school performance, they might have lower grades, they might have suicidal tendencies. A lot of our female clients that are part of our program, they'll come to a meeting and want to talk about, Miss Shannon, this past weekend I was struggling and I was cutting myself. We have a lot of cutters. We have children that are affected by increased risk of child abuse because they're shifted from home to home. They are part of families that, I didn't sign up to raise my grandchildren, or I didn't sign up to raise my sister's children. And so the tension in the household is raised. And of course, sometimes that increases the risk of child abuse and even neglect. With financial support, having an extra child in the household to take care of. A lot of our families already barely have enough funding to take care of themselves, and then you add 3 more children to the pot. A lot of our grandparents are raising their grandchildren, and so they're on a fixed income. And a lot of these families don't want to report to DHS or don't want to report that they're taking care of the children, because then you have to wonder about, is this a safe environment for the child, or do we have are they going to charge the mom or the dad with child support? So all of these unknowns that the women and the caregivers are not aware of and afraid of, so they don't report a lot of these things. And a lot of our children, reports show that the children who have an incarcerated parent, they're 7 times more likely to be incarcerated themselves. And so we try to, as Girl Scouts, we try to bring about programming to help these children to kind of steer away from the same path that mom or dad have taken to end up incarcerated. Next slide for me, please. A lot of people don't know that there are more than 4,000 children in the state of Oklahoma who have an incarcerated parent. And Oklahoma, even though we are now #2 for incarcerating women, we are only #2 by 6 people, and that's next to Louisiana. So we, in my eyes, we're still #1 for incarcerating women in the world, in the nation. And half of those children actually lived with their incarcerated mother prior to, well, with their mother prior to her incarceration. So everything has changed with that child's life. It's almost like I equate it to almost like a death in the family, because that the sole taker of the caretaker of the child has been removed from the house. And so not more than, I apologize, my coworker left her phones on. So more than half of those children that are affected by incarceration, they haven't even seen their mother. And a lot of our children that we actually connect with mom, it's been the majority, it's been about 1.5 to 2 years before the child has actually seen their mom, because at the county jails, children under the age of 12, they're not even able to visit with their caretaker or with their incarcerated parent. So those children, you know, they just don't have any contact at all with the parents. And so a lot of the children, the first time that they're seeing mom is with the Girl Scouts Beyond Bars program. Next slide for me, please. So we've been around for more than 15 years. Actually began the program in 2003. So Girl Scouts USA, which is, we're under the umbrella of Girl Scouts USA, they recognized that it was a need for our services because of the mass incarceration and all of the things that they saw. So they had a little seed money, they called it seed money, and we piloted a program called Project Mend. It stood for Mothers Encouraging and Nurturing Their Daughters. And so that is now called it's called Girl Scouts Beyond Bars. That's what we call our program now. So with that, we had a lofty goal for reunifying our families and try to help these families that are affected by incarceration. And next slide, please. So our history, a little bit about our history. In 2003, like I said, we started Project Men, Mothers Encouraging and Nurturing Their Daughters. And from there, we came to the table and we were connecting the mothers with their children, and the mothers were getting out of prison, but then they were running into issues of not having housing and not having good employment and not being able to take care of their children once they were released from prison. So there were some different organizations that came to the table in Tulsa, Tulsa Tech, one of them, TCC, another one. And we came to the table and started to talk about how we might be able to help these women to be able to have gainful employment. And one of the things back then that we discovered was that welders did not discriminate against felons. And so welders also look at women welders there weren't very many of them. And organizations and businesses, when a woman applied to be a welder, and they found out that she's more detail oriented than most men, and so they had like one little step above the other applicants. But then soon as they started finishing the classes and going out for employment, there was something that happened in the community to where there were layoffs everywhere, and so there was competition with welders who had 25 years experience versus our women who were just getting out of school. So we had to go back to the table and talk about it again and see how we might be able to help these women to be able to have successful employment. And another thing that actually happened was there was some state funding in 2010, the Second Chance Mentoring. You're probably familiar with this as well, not only with the women for reentry, but for children. We found that, having a mentor for the women, having someone there to hold their hand and walk them through the process of, you encouraging them to be successful in our community, it really worked. So that mentoring piece helped our mothers to be able to have someone to talk to and to be able to mentor them through their process, not only after incarceration, but 6 months prior to. Start working with them to get their driver's license, find out what they needed to do to get their driver's license, social security card, birth certificate, the things that we take for granted. These women almost have to start all over again to actually be successful in the community. And the children, children, a lot of them are raised by grandparents. So the grandparents, their daughter's incarcerated or their son is incarcerated. So you have children and caregivers in the same household who are battling with the same emotions and the same stressors in life, and they don't have anyone to talk to. So we found out that finding mentors for our children, partnering with big brothers, big sisters, that helped our children to be able to better cope with all of these anxieties and all of these traumas that they're having to deal with because of having an incarcerated parent. So next slide, please. So the children that we actually serve, we serve children who are of school age, kindergarten through 12th grade, who have an incarcerated mother. The prisons, like I shared, that we visit are Mabel Bassett and Eddie Warrior, the Oklahoma Reentry Opportunity Center, and OKCCC. So with Mabel Bassett and Eddie Warrior, we post-COVID, we are now able to start transporting children to visit these facilities. So we're really excited about it. Our first visit to Eddie Warrior will be this coming Saturday. And what a typical visit looks like, say for instance, yesterday on Monday, I went to Eddie Warrior and I met with all of the moms that are participating in this program and shared with them what we're going to do on Saturday. So myself and the staff from Girl Scouts, we're the connector. We reunify the families, bring the children, provide that transportation for the children and the mom. We teach the moms how to be the hero when we actually take them to the facility. They're going to lead the program. We coach them through it. We have some therapists that are part of our volunteers, and they come in and help us with some of those difficult conversations, like I was sharing with you, and our girls share with us that they've been cutting themselves or they're having suicidal tendencies. I'm able to talk to the therapist. Their therapist is able to have that conversation with the child and the mom right then and there, and then follow up with some additional care for the entire family. So it's awesome that we're able to have those therapists actually work with us. It's a great opportunity, and I'm so thankful for it, because sometimes things, conversations happen with these young people, and it's like, okay, how do I direct them and make sure you do it in a safe way for them, because we want to make sure that our children are our number one priority. If it's not a safe environment for them, if it's not a safe connection, we don't have any problem letting the caregiver and the child know, maybe we need to wait a little bit. Mom needs to complete her parenting class. And after she completes her parenting class, maybe have some sit down and work through making sure that's a safe connection for the child. Next slide for me, please. So we not only serve children at the facility by connecting them with mom at the prison, we have a lot of actual activities that we do with the children on the outside, because when they join Girl Scouts, they're a Girl Scout. They get to participate in all the Girl Scouting activities. We have Girl Scouting in the school day, where we go to Tulsa Public Schools, Union Public Schools, in Broken Arrow, because I'm actually based out of Tulsa. We go into the schools and have our Girl Scouting programs. Might be a quick 8-week 10-week program during the school day, and giving the teachers a little break and having those activities. But from that, the children are able to join the community troops, which meet on a biweekly basis. Our programs, all of the programs that we do are year-round programs, so we're able to stay connected to the children, not only through the school year, but even through the summertime. Or right now, we're having a bunch of summer activities for our kids. 2 weeks ago, we went to Starbase. I've never even heard of Starbase, but it's actually a part of the National Guard program where they do STEM activities with the children, and it's at Tulsa International Airport. And those children were able to go in and learn how to use a 3D printer and build their own rocket ship, and learn how STEM and aviation and all those things actually work together. And they made it really, really fun, to where I would even go back as an adult to, participate in some of those programming. College Connect. We have College Connect, where we take girls grades 8 through 11 and prepare them for college. Just because mom didn't go to college, or no one in their family has ever attended college, we try to encourage our girls that, if you want to go to college, go to college. Let us teach you how to do that. Let us teach you how to look for scholarships. Let us teach you how to even fill out an application for college. A lot of them don't even think that they are able to, and I'm not smart enough to go to college, and those types of things. So we have motivational speakers and things come in to help our girls prepare for college. We have a lot of summer activities. We provide resources for our family. I try to look in the community for different organizations and companies that we can partner with and collaborate with. Like I said, we have our therapists that are on board with us and volunteering. We look for therapists for children who might need they're struggling with some things in life and don't understand how to work through these emotions and these traumas that have affected them because they have an incarcerated parent. So we look for therapists for them. And mentorship, we're the first mentor that they're a part of. We're that consistent piece that they see all the time, and that we're a part of their lives. But if that group mentorship is not enough, we will reach out into the community to find someone to mentor these children. Like I said, we partner with Big Brothers Big Sisters. Sometimes they might have a lot of female mentors, but not a lot of male mentors. So we look into the community for those male mentors. So we try to provide as many resources as we can for the families. Next slide, please. So like I was sharing, the Girl Scouting in the school day and our community troops, the children go through different sessions during the school day to earn some Girl Scout badges, have some fun, learn more about Girl Scouting. They're invited to join the community troops, where they'll receive even a greater experience as a Girl Scout. Our community troops are bi-weekly. We might have them at a Boys and Girls Club, at the Dream Center, at Tulsa Leadership, the Hardesty Leadership Center. We have them in the community. So we look for partners that are already working with children, and then have that opportunity to be able to serve not only those girls at that facility, but also the girls that we might be bringing in from the schools, or those girls that might already be connected to us through going to see their mother at the prisons. Next slide, please. So the College Connect, that is for, like I said, grades 8 through 11. We prepare them for college, help them look for scholarships. We actually go on college tours, and those tours we set up different tours throughout the summer, where the college actually can have time to take the girls around to the different dorms and introduce them to some of the different things that they might not even know that a college has, or what they might experience at a college. We have motivational speakers that come in and talk to them, from everything from taking care of animals to learning how to have STEM, do aviation and all these different technologies. STEM is a huge thing in our community right now, because they're looking to try and train young girls, because there's not a lot of young girls in that field right now. And so you'll hear a lot about STEM in our community. Next slide, please. So our summer programming is always lots and lots of fun. Not only do we sell cookies, you know, Girl Scouts, you hear about Girl Scouts and you think about cookies and camping. And so our girls do get to participate in camp. They might go to a full week camp, they might go to a half week camp, but several of our girls are actually at camp this week. Our camp started this month, and because once the school is over, the first part of June, we actually start our resident camp. And so those camps go throughout the summer until the first part of August, and our girls get to participate in those camps. Some girls have never been camping before until they go to our resident camp. And of course, they have different themes. One of our Girl Scouts just came back on Friday, and she went and learned how to build a drone. And of course, that's all based around STEM. And that's one of the fields that she is even interested in learning more about and going to college for. So that was a perfect opportunity for her to go and have a full week experience of learning how to build a drone, fly a drone, and learn all those mathematical terms. And she really enjoyed herself. And then our outings. Each month we take an outing with our children. During the summer, we're actually able to take more outings with our children because we have more time during the week. We can run by the house and pick up the kids and take them to different activities. We went to Starbase, you know, what I shared with you. In 2 weeks, we'll actually go to the Oklahoma City Museum of Arts. We have Oxley Nature Center in Tulsa. We'll be doing some activities at the Nature Center. So we try to stay really engaged and connected to the children throughout the summer and throughout the year. And like I was sharing, STEM is just a big thing in our community right now with our children, and even with people that want to come in and share STEM activities with our children. We have robotics teams during the fall, and one of our teams actually made it to nationals this year, so that was really exciting. So they're excited about starting the next session, and what do I need to plan for my robot to do during this next session that's coming up. So seeing them engaged and seeing the excitement in their eyes, and knowing that, you know, just because I have an incarcerated mother and an incarcerated father doesn't mean that I can't continue to live life, and doesn't mean that I can't enjoy, you know, being a kid, because some of them have to grow up so fast, and taking care of their siblings and making sure this happens and making sure that happens, that they forget to be kids. One thing that one of our, I'll never forget, we transport the children. So one of the girls, she was like, "Miss Shannon, can I be the last one you drop off?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" And because that's on the way back to the office. So and I always know that when a kid wants to be the last one, that means they want to have a conversation with us. And she said, and she was a teenager, and she was a tough one to get past that initial you know, getting her to get used to us and to open up with us and those things. And she said, "You know why I like coming to Girl Scouts?" And I was like, "No, tell me why." And she was like, "I get to be a kid. I get to be myself. I don't have to pretend to be something I'm not. I don't have to pretend to be an adult. And I actually get to be who I am with you guys." And so I will always remember that. And that's what these children have an opportunity to be, or children, when they're with us, versus, you know, wearing all those different hats that they have to wear because they have a family member, a mother or a father that's incarcerated. Next slide, please. So with our family resources, we look for different organizations to collaborate with. When I called Mr. Keith, like he said, it was just one of those calls out of the blue. I was like, "Oh, I'm going to call him and see what they do. How can we work together? How can we help these children? How can we come together to help these children? What do they do? What do we do? And how can we make that happen?" I'm always looking for different organizations in the community that we might be able to collaborate with. We're always doing community events to let the family members and different organizations know who we are. We have lots of referrals and we try to connect our families with the resources that they're needed, not only the families in the community, but even those mothers when they're released from the facility. We try to make those connections with helping them find a job. Every month I receive a list of these are the places that are hiring in Tulsa. Some of them are felon friendly, and we get that information and share that information with our moms as they're being released from the facilities. You know, if there's any food was a big thing during COVID, and it got to the point that, you know, I was volunteering with so many different organizations. One day my son called me and he said, "Mom, there's about 7 food boxes that just got dropped off at the house." But people knew that our children and our families needed food. And so of course you go home and you start your second job of passing out food in the community. And so that's, you know, during COVID, that was a big thing. Every Tuesday I would deliver 12 to 15 boxes every Tuesday evening to our families if they needed clothing. You know, some of our kids prior to COVID, they had uniforms. Caregivers didn't have the funds to barely put food on the table, let alone having to, you know, supply uniforms for their kiddos. So we help them look for clothing and housing, and definitely mental health. And even medical. Some caregivers didn't know how to even apply for Medicaid or how to sign up for Sooner Care and those things. So we, Girl Scouts Beyond Bars looks for partnerships within our community to serve the children and the families that are affected by incarceration. So that's my presentation to you guys, so that we can try to see how we might be able to work together to help these families. Next slide, please. So the mothers that are in the prison, they attend. I actually meet a lot of women because we do nurturing parenting program, and the nurturing parenting program is a four-week, at least 3 hours, which is minimum of 12 hours class that we do with our mothers. We Every mother that's in our program, they're required to attend the nurturing parenting class. From this parenting class, when we take the children on to visit them that once a month at Mabel Bassett and Eddie Warrior, they're able to incorporate the skills that they learn at nurturing parenting during their meeting with their child. They know how to, you know, recognize if your child's having some feelings, to sit down and have a conversation with them, you know, and not say what's wrong with you versus what happened. You know, something had to happen for your behavior to be such, and not just to overlook those things. So we teach them how to be a nurturing parent from where they're sitting, because they're going home. And when they do go home, we want them to be successful parents, to be able to have some tools that they probably didn't have prior to incarceration for when they go home. We're also certified in a lot of cognitive-based classes at the Department of Corrections, thinking for a change, ideas for better communication, victim impact. Some of these classes, you know, the women have to even take, in order, like victim impact, for instance. I've had a couple of women that had to take that class in order to get their driver's license back because they might have had a DUI. Thinking for a change, a lot of women have that on their case, on their sheet, to have to take that class in order to even be considered for probation and parole. You know, so a lot of these classes that they need, we at Girl Scouts take it upon ourselves to become trained in those classes so that we can provide that resource to the mom, and not only for the mom, but to help the facility. Because a lot of the facilities, case managers have to teach these classes. And we know if you have a caseload of 100 women, you know, it's next to impossible to fit in a class, a Thinking for a Change class that's 21 weeks long. So we try to help not only the facility, we help the moms. And with these classes, they receive credits. And with those credits, they're able to come home to the child 15 days sooner than before she took the parenting class. So any way that we can help relieve a little pressure from a case manager or what have you at a prison, or help the mom get home 10 to 15 days earlier, we're gonna definitely make sure that we help in those areas. Our leadership classes are those classes that I was sharing with you that we do with the moms prior to bringing the children to the facility. And then with every one of our moms, I sit down with them and we have talk about when they go home. What is that going to look like? What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? Some women, they don't even want to think about that. I don't want to think about when I go home. I just want to do my time and go home. But we sit down and have those conversations, and 6 months prior to them going home, it's like, wait a minute. I am fixing to go home and I don't have anything planned. So we try to initiate those conversations when we first meet them. And then we continue to have those conversations throughout their incarceration. And 6 months prior to them actually going home, they have a plan in their hand. And like, this is what I need to do. I can do some things right here from where I'm sitting. And then by the time I go home, I don't have to worry about those things versus everything dumping on them at one time. And I have 30 days. 90 days to get this done, and it's overwhelming for them. And of course, any stress that a mom feels is actually going to come back on the child, and the child is our number one priority. So we want to make sure that we help the families and the mothers as much as possible, just so it benefits the whole family. It benefits the children. Next slide, please. So how do Girl Scouts find the children, you might ask? We find through nurturing parenting. We'll go to a facility. I might go to Eddie Warrior, and on Mondays at 12:30, they sign up for classes. So during that time, I might sit in the room, and the new women that are on the yard, they come through and they sign up for the classes, and I talk to them about our Girl Scouts Beyond Bars program, and then they sign up for our program as well. And when those women sign up for nurturing parenting, we have an audience of 70 women at one time, and we're able to share about our program. And some of those women sign up for the program. We might have a referral from a school counselor. We've had counselors at the school call us, I heard from so-and-so and then heard from so-and-so and they heard about you guys, and I have this child who has an incarcerated mother. What do we need to do to make this happen and connect the child with mom because she hasn't seen her in so many years? So we have those conversations and those connections with the different school counselors. I'll attend some training sessions with the school counselors, just like I'm attending today with you guys. Some attorneys, I think I met Barbara, and because she was with one of our Girl Scouts many years ago, and referred one of the girls to us who is still a part of the program today. We might have different government agencies. A DHS worker might call us, or a community agencies with Big Brothers Big Sisters. Since we're looking for mentors for kids, they might have someone that they are associated or affiliated with that might have a parent that's incarcerated that we visit that facility. New Hope, they work with children who have an incarcerated parent, but they do camps. They don't actually make that connection with mom and child at the facility. So if they meet a new child, they send referrals to us as well. And so we try to look for different agencies that work with children who have an incarcerated parent, and we work really well together because not all of us do the same thing. Big Brothers Big Sisters, they find mentors. New Hope does a camp. Family and Children's Services, they have a program a diversion program to help the women stay out of prison. But sometimes those women don't complete the program and they end up going to prison. And so when that happens, they already have that information about the family and about the children, and they share that information with us and say, you know what, Miss Shannon, so-and-so didn't complete the program, and you'll be seeing them at Mabel Bassett. Here's their information. Maybe you can call the caregiver and make that connection for the family to be able to participate with the Girl Scout Beyond Bars program. Next slide, please. So it seems like a lot of things that we do, and it is. I actually have myself and Miss Jackie. She's the coordinator with the children and coordinate the activities that we do with the children. I do a lot of the community-based activities and the reentry piece with the moms, parenting classes, and those things. And so we work together. We look for volunteers. If you guys know of any volunteers that want to or have a desire working with inmates or even children who have an incarcerated parent, please share my information with them. I can definitely send Keith a flyer that has some resources or some information on how to get in contact with us. And if we can put that in your hands, so when you meet families who want their child to be, or the child that they're caring for to be connected with mom, or have a desire to be connected with mom, we can definitely make that connection for them. So any way that we're able to make that connection and make a safe connection, we will gladly do all that we can to make that happen for the families. So please feel free to save my information and send me an email with any other questions. If you don't have any today and maybe later you think about it, like, wow, I should have asked Miss Shannon that. Send me an email or send it to Keith and he'll get it to me, and we'll definitely answer some questions and get you some resources to be able to share with your families.
Oh, this is great, Shannon. Thank you so much. I mean, to me, this kind of hits at my emotional strings a little bit, just thinking about, kids or, daughters trying to connect with their moms, again, when they haven't done anything. And I imagine you see some pretty cool things sometimes when the kids get to see the parent, get them see the
Yeah.
mom.
It's an honor to be able to make that connection and see lives changed and even bring hope back into the eyes of a mom who's like, you know what, I burnt so many bridges to get to prison. And now that I'm here, I don't even think that I'll ever be able to see my kids until I get out, or if I,
Right.
when I prove myself. But just them taking that nurturing parenting class, it's amazing how many phone calls we make. And we let the caregiver know, hey, I met Ann and nurturing parenting and Eddie Warrior, and the caregivers are like, they're taking parenting? Oh, they've been needing that for years. So it makes a big difference. And I've been teaching the class for over 15 years, and I still use a lot of those things with my children who are adults, to teach them how to be better parents. So it's to be able to have those tools and those little nuggets that they pick up from the class, it makes a big difference in them being connected to their child. So it's
That's
an honor
great.
to be in this
Well,
position.
Barbara had a couple of questions she put in the chat.
Yes.
Is there any leeway in the program for girls who are just graduating from high school, but who have been a part of the Girl Scouts Beyond Bars program to continue visiting with their moms?
So with the Oklahoma Department of Corrections, once a child is 18, they're considered an adult. And then once you're an adult with DOC being a volunteer, you can't go to a facility whom you have a loved one. So if ever as a volunteer, if ever I have someone, a family member or someone that's attached to my family that becomes incarcerated, I as a volunteer have to report to the prison, oh, by the way, my granddaughter's dad is incarcerated at XYZ prison, because of the safety precautions and the issues at the facility. That's very hard to do. That's very hard to do. So the child has to then enroll as a volunteer, not as a volunteer, but as an adult, and then submit her application to Department of Corrections and visit the facility as an adult. The only good thing about that is once the child is 18, they don't have to rely on a caregiver to take them. So many of our caregivers themselves have felonies, and so they haven't been able to make that connection for the child, and so they rely on our program to be able to make that connection with child and mom, because it's almost like we become caregiver for a day in order for them to be able to see them.
All right. Another question that Barbara had was, may girls who are still minors but who have graduated from high school still participate in the summer visitation and other activities?
Yes, most definitely. So Girl Scouts, once you turn 18 with Girl Scouts, you become an adult. But because we're a program, and our Girl Scouting year goes from October through September. And so, say for instance, our Girl Scout graduates in May. She turns 18.
Uh-oh, you locked up, Shannon. She may have to log back on. I'll ramble for a minute. I mean, obviously, I'm going to send out this PowerPoint, and it has Shannon's contact information on it. And, you know, when you're making a recommendation and you see an incarcerated mom and a daughter, make a recommendation to Girl Scouts Beyond Bars. I think it's a great way to connect with parents.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It would be, you know, great to put in a recommendation, you know, if the conditions are right. I can see us using that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Might be coming back. Shannon, you locked up.
It also makes a difference, the facility, because they don't go to all of the facilities. They do go to Mabel Bassett, and I think there's one in Oklahoma City. So it makes a difference what facility the parent is in as well.
Right. Well, in the relationship with the parents.
Questions, and one would be, like, I saw how we got the referral, but how much notice do they need? How many, like, do they have a lot of volunteers? Is it only 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, or do they do weekends? And do they transport, or are they allowed to supervise as well? You know what I mean? Like, do they have to get a DHS person to supervise that actual visit, or are they supervising the visit? Does that make sense?
They supervise it, and they also transport the children on. They have buses that they transport the children on. The children are usually dropped off at a location. There are a couple of locations in Tulsa, I know, at the Girl Scout house, and then there's a location north where they will pick children up as well, and then they deliver them back at the same location, and the caregiver picks them up there.
Shannon, can you hear us? Yes. It's on the screen, but maybe isn't hearing. Well, you know, OCCY has a committee on children of incarcerated parents, and has a, there you are. Hey.
I have no idea what happened. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's technical thing like I was talking about. Yeah, you just froze up. So we just kind of talked for a minute. And so who else has questions for Shannon? And I think we talked about this before when we visited, but remind me, you're connected already with the Children of Incarcerated Parents group out of OCCY, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We're a part of that group, and
wait, Shelly, I can hear you. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Go ahead. We had some feedback.
Okay. Yes, we're a part of that that group as well, that look for, you know, different ways that we're able to serve the children in this community. So yes, sir.
Okay, good. And I assume you've developed a relationship or talked to Chris Steele at Team.
Yes, you know? Yes.
When you were, he's awesome. He's like you. He's awesome.
He is. He really is. I went and met with him on last week, and we're actually he's planning a block party at the Oklahoma City Reentry Center here in Oklahoma City. And so I found out about it. And so we're working with him to try and transport children from Tulsa to the block party for the women, because a lot of the caregivers, like I was sharing with you, they have felonies, and so they're not able to be a part of the visitation up here at the reentry center. And so we're going to be that person, that group that connects those children with mom on that special day. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Oklahoma City Thunder is supposed to be here. Going to have a lot of blow up. Fun activities for the kids to do, face painting, popcorn, all of just like a giant carnival. So I'm excited.
That sounds awesome. Well, I met with Chris before in a previous life and was kind of blown away by his passion and his thinking outside the box. And and you're the same way, I can tell. So I'm glad you guys are connected. Are you involved? How about State CASA? Are you connected with them?
No, I'm not. I would love to have their information.
I'll send it to you. Are you familiar with what they are, though, right? Court-appointed special advocates.
No.
Well, I'll give the elevator speech. Basically, it's volunteers like us, like PARB members, who are kind of almost like big brothers, big sisters, or mentors to a family that's going through, deprived court. So they'll visit on a fairly regular basis with the family and kind of advocate for the kids, just advocate in court and spend time with the family. But I'll send you.
Love to meet them.
Yeah, I mean, they're similar to us. If you're not connected with them, you definitely need to be. I'll send you some information. And they're pretty big and they're pretty sophisticated. We're kind of affiliated with a state agency. They're a private nonprofit.
Okay.
And they're national too. I mean, they've got national and state and everything else.
Thank you so much.
Who else? Anybody else have any questions, thoughts? Okay. Well, and again, and when you were frozen there, Shannon, we talked about, that we should, whenever the circumstances are right, whenever there's a mom in prison in Oklahoma and a daughter, school-aged daughter, that's part of a case that we're reviewing, that we certainly will make recommendations to the judge that they can get connected with this program.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I have one more question. I know that sometimes boys participate. So do you also take, like if the girls have brothers that could go at the same time, do you allow that?
Yes, thank you so much. I did not include that. So we're able to, we serve girls who are K through 12. And because we're a girl-led organization or a girl organization to empower young girls, because back in the day, when we first received the funding, we weren't able to transport the little sibling brothers. And it was very, very difficult to go pick up a girl and wave bye to the brother. And the girls, they would sneak pizza in their pocket. Yes, they would put pizza in their pocket, some little candies and everything. And so we would tell these stories to our funders. And, it was just very sad to have to leave little brother behind when we were taking the daughter. And we found some funding to be able to serve those sibling brothers. So now if a girl joins and she has a brother, they don't even have to be in the same household, because a lot of our kids are split up. You have 3 and 5 kids, some families can't take on all 3. So they split them up amongst their family members, and we're able to connect all of those children again to be able to see mom. And a lot of times that's when they get to see each other as well. So yes, we are able to take those sibling brothers who have a sister that's a part of the program.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Don't leave those little boys out. They need their mama too. All right, anything else for Shannon?
I just want to give a brief testimonial that it was a really exciting experience and a great experience for the little client that I have. And she was the one that she's still participating, but as I say, she has just graduated from high school, but she hasn't turned 18 yet. So I think she's going to probably participate in some of the summer visits. So
Yes.
she has really looked forward to that. And the nice thing about it is that she was able to do that. And she had been in several placements before she went and lived with her aunt. So that was a really unifying experience for her because she was able to go no matter where she was placed, as long as she was close enough for the caregiver to bring her to the drop-off place.
Yes. And Barbara, I don't know if you remember, just on a side note, when I had asked for a letter of recommendation for her, she actually received that scholarship. So she received a scholarship from Girl Scouts. And the thing about our scholarships, that when the girls receive a scholarship from Girl Scouts, there's no stipulations. She can use that to buy a car that will help her get to college, or she's able to use it for books or housing or food or anything. So I was so excited for her when she actually received that scholarship. It's an honor, and she's just a testimony across the board for how far she's actually come.
That is very true.
Oh, that's great. So yeah, I mean, that's probably a perfect ending. Have a little testimonial there.
Yes,
So
yes.
we are connected for life now, Shannon. So if
Yes.
anything comes up, we'll reach out to us. We'll reach out to you. And appreciate what you do and all the energy that takes to do it. And if nothing else, we'll go ahead and wrap up.
Thank you so much for the invite, and thank you guys for listening to me. And like I said, I'm here for you if you need me.
All right, well done. Thanks, Shannon. All right, see y'all later.